Welcome back, folks. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back, folks. SCL Relegations going on. We're heading into our fourth game, and it's going to be an exciting one. Got something in my eye, but I'm still excited. CAZ versus Null and Void. Really interested to see what these guys have to bring later on.
I mean, CAZ looked really, really solid. If you need to like take your glasses off,
yeah,
just go for that. I got your back here. CAZ looked really, really solid in their first game today, and then Era Eternity came in and secured their second victory. So can CAZ kind of come back and make it happen for them to push their way into the SCL?
Yeah, I mean, Era Eternity kind of already has their thing like you were just mentioning, but Null and Void, they have the loss, so this one's going to be rough. Null and Void, when we watched them play earlier, they were a little bit fishy, or iffy, I should say, on when to engage, when to do their thing, and really when to make it happen, essentially. Whereas when you look across the way CAZ, these guys are comfortable. These guys are confident. It's going to be a tough one for NNV.
Veterans. That's the word that comes to mind whenever I think about CAZ. I mean, you got Atonement in that duo lane who's been around for a long time. You've got Elexum who's been around since the very beginning of the EU SCL. These are guys who have been there, they've done that, and they're not going to be the ones to hesitate. They're going to have the confidence to try and make those quick objective calls. Can Null and Void stick with them in those sort of scenarios? We'll have to wait and see.
So as we get into this one, any picks do you expect to see Atonement bring the Artemis out again?
Artemis, man, why not, dude? He fragged in the first time, like, may as well.
So let's ask for it. P's and B's, pretty please. Will we see the Artemis, or will we see the B's?
Well, we're going to...
The AMC?
Oh, well, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know anymore. I'm not going to try and predict it.
You should have went, well, maybe.
Oh, can we do it over? No, I don't want to do it over again.
Don't do it over again.
It's too late now.
Well, they ban out the Freya and the Odin.
Maybe.
Oh my God. How do you exist?
Nailed it. Got it the second time around. Scotty ban. That's a Scotty. And that is
maybe Scott D. Like, it was right there, set up for you. Like, out there, just even, ready to go. And you were like, I would not like it.
No, thank you.
No, you didn't even say thank you. You just said, I would not like it.
Sun Wukong, the first pick here for Null and Void.
The king of the monkeys.
Yeah, he's been pretty strong right now, and most of the time it's been one pick for the first pick, and then Sun Wukong is always locked in right away on the other side.
Yeah.
This time, I like this decision to first pick it, but Mr. Turtle here for CAZ, he played that Bellona in game one and looked very, very comfortable on it. And Batz, another monkey.
But he's not the king. So
No.
it might be an issue. Bellona and Batz, team fight centric. And then V with the Sun Wukong, more of an individual character here. Although he can cause a lot of disruption. Ganesh does the same thing. He doesn't exactly have that like strong initiation the way Bellona or Batz does, but he's just going to mess everything else up.
Yeah, it's very difficult to initiate onto a team that does have Ganesh, and you look at abilities that can get interrupted by that Ohm Silence. I'm looking at Bludgeon and Overhead Smash very early. Plus, I mean, Batz can blink in and just get silenced right away, and then he's standing there, you know, the pose, and then he's not going to be able to drop that Fear No Evil, and that's really difficult when that happens.
And then, of course, down come the pillars, and you find yourself running in and out of the pillars.
Yep.
That's bad news. Sun Wukong, Ganesh, Thoth, these are all characters that are sitting there going, all right, engage on me. Thoth is going to dash out of there. Ganesh and Sun Wukong are going to dare you to do whatever the hell you want to do. Ra, on the other hand, this guy's going to sort of sit back and wait for CAZ to start a party.
Yeah, and just wait for that initiation so that he can guarantee that Searing Pain ultimate. A lot of slippery members, though, on Null and Void, and Ra doesn't usually do quite as well against characters that can not only evade his team to get on top of him, but also get away from him and juke out that Searing Pain pretty easily. We'll have to see how accurate Elexum is with that ult.
Thor and Kronos banned out here in our second round. CAZ with their final ban on the way. Curious if they're going to go for another jungler, or if they're going to look the way of maybe that Hunter. But it will be the Camazotz. Very strong.
Smart ban. Smart ban. Not only very strong, but excellent with Brawler's Beat Stick. Can apply it from a distance and very safely, and it does a lot of damage, making sure that anti-heal won't be quite as easily applied with whatever jungler Null and Void want to go with.
The final ban out of NNV will be the Robin, and I think
Another
this
good
is
ban.
always a strong ban. Robin.
Actually, no, I don't like this here for Null and Void because jungle and solo are already locked in for CAZ. They should have been the one to be taking the Robin. That, especially with Camazotz and Thor off the table, that's the best jungler available. That's the best jungler available anyways.
I'm just so used to seeing Robin ban and being happy about it.
I know, that's what same. I was like, yes, no
Robin. Let me
Robin.
ask you about the actuality of a Robin or a Bellona support.
I'm not scared of it. I'll be honest. Like,
Did you see that face?
Miss me with Robin or Bellona support. I'm not a big fan of it. Thanatos.
I'm a big fan of that.
Interesting. I was really... Cullen seemed like the fairly obvious choice here for me. You're getting some early game to pair with the late game of Thoth, but Thanatos does that same thing. Early game to try and carry him out of there. Chiron, the other selection. This roster from Null and Void, this is all in for me. If this Thanatos falls behind, it is very difficult to stay relevant.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I like this selection. I think Thanatos is going to do what you were talking about with Ganesha earlier on, able to silence out the overhand smash and the bludgeon coming out from Bellona by way of the Soul Reap. You're going to be able to do very good stuff when it comes to executing players. He's going to be able to follow the Apollo around should he go that way, even though the Apollo was picked after the fact. I'm a fan of Thanatos, that's no secret, but I think that Thanatos has very few applications. This might be one of them, and I'm kind of interested.
I don't mind the pick. It's very high risk, very high reward, and this could be, I mean, if the Thanatos gets off to a roll, all of a sudden Null and Void is just going to start crushing this Ra in the mid lane. Batz can fall behind, and all of a sudden you've set up your Thoth for great success come the mid to late game. I love this Apollo pick, though, for Atonement. One of those gods that's like, even if things are going wrong everywhere else on the map, you always have the potential to just start to dominate with this Apollo come late game. You could split push, you can team fight, you can do it all with this Hunter.
I like the Thanatos pick again. Also, taking a look at the Chiron and where everybody's at, this also feels like a very comfort pick oriented draft. I mean, Chiron, not exactly the bottom of the list, but there are probably other Hunters that we might have seen. So to see the Chiron come out on no compromise and to see the Thanatos come out on Daimyo, it's just feels, and again, this is sort of conjecture. I don't know what these guys like to play. These selections feel like sort of comfort picks. And Null and Void back against the wall with one loss already in their L column. You got to go for the win.
Yeah, I mean, if CAZ wins this, they're in. They're in the SCL, but CAZ and Era Eternity would just play in order to get their seeding correct going in. And Null and Void and Ezzun-Chan would have to play in order to find their seeding out for the Challenger Cup. But this is do or die. So going to your comfort picks, whether they're meta or not, I don't have a problem with it.
And again, in the situations where Thanatos really shines are when he gets to play against characters like Ra. In the early game, as soon as he hits level 5, Ryan, you ult, you hit the 1, you silence out the Ra, and you follow up with some basic attacks with, keep in mind, Thoth is going to be shooting him in the brain at the same time. There is no Ra that's escaping that combination. At least one kill is guaranteed when this Thanatos hits level 5.
Atonement left all alone in this duo lane, and this is when CAZ's calling card so far here in Relegations. They've been pretty consistent with leaving Atonement on his own. Don't be surprised if CAZ do qualify for the SCL. The teams start to recognize this and try and pressure them out. So I believe one of those, Elexum actually sniped one away with that Celestial Beam from an odd angle, so no Oracle Vision earned by Null and Void.
I like to talk about different metas and different strategies at different levels, and I think that to leave Atonement alone is one of the meta strategies that are going to work here at the relegation level. And then once this team, if they find their way into the SCL, make it there, it's going to be a very different story. So whether or not they realize that is going to be a big key to their success should they continue.
And I like what Switch is doing here on this Terra, just sitting with Elexum in the early game. If your plan is to leave Atonement, then leave him. Don't even go over there at all. Just let him solo farm. And with how No Compromise and Olliieee have been playing this duo lane so far, going to split up those back harpies, this is a lot of solo farm for Atonement. It didn't start the Devos, instead went for the Bumbas, which is necessary if you're starting on your own in the jungle. You can't afford to not go Bumbas just because of the extra sustain and the extra damage that you do to those jungle camps. But don't be surprised if Atonement just gets 2,050 gold and says, I'll just start the Devos right now.
I think the Devos are still the way to go, especially on Apollo, who takes advantage of his passive. Nice play by BaiN to cancel the bludgeon. Oh, the one was missed, so this won't be a kill for Thanatos. If he actually hits that death scythe, that's a dead Bellona.
Certainly potential for first blood there for Null and Void if that death scythe hits, but
big if.
It didn't, so it isn't. Still at zeros.
That is the rule of thumb. That is the rule of Thanatos. Miss your one, you better run. That's just how it works out for Daimyo Herp.
That was good.
Thanks, bud. So it's not going to work out for him on the right-hand side just yet.
Elexum still only sitting level 4, so that could have been an opportunity for a snipe just to seal away the big fire elemental, but without a lot of mana, can't really step up too safely there, and without the ultimate only being level 4, certainly can't try and fight too much in that scenario. That's the risk of this Soul Trap start. It's a lot of power and it's a lot of mana, but you don't have any innate MP5 with this start, and Raw definitely not super efficient with his mana in the early game. Takes a lot to clear the wave, at least until you max out that 1. We're going to be able to full clear it instantly.
No compromise on this Chiron. Also a little bit of a healer. As we were talking about, I definitely still want to see the Devo gloves for the Apollo. Excuse me, the Bumba's Mask, sure, a little bit of sustain. I think it's much more about the damage done to the camps. He's all by himself, and he doesn't have an extra hand to help him out.
Well, he actually uses 2 whenever he has his passive. He raises both hands and pew-pew with both.
My headset must have cut out real quick. What does he do? Pew. That's what I thought.
But it's actually for 5.
Please, can you give us...
Pew, 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 pew.
Please clip that. That is definitely a new alert for my stream. So 4 minutes in, camera guy getting involved here. 4 minutes in, still nothingness. I'm waiting for Daimyo Herp after he clears this right side of the map here. He picks up the blue buff for his son Wukong. Hasn't been back to base yet. One of the traps of Thanatos can be sticking out way too long. I want to see him back, buy some booties, and then smack it in the middle lane.
Trap is a good word because you end up thinking that you're stronger than the opposition because Thanatos is almost always stronger than the opposition at 4 minutes. But the fact is that Maloaise, he's got full boots. And as you mentioned, Daimyo has not backed quite yet. So this is a good opportunity, if CAZ recognize it, to try and take this fight.
Yeah, so 30,000, 1,500. He's about 50. There you go. He has boots. Go ahead and back there, Thanatos. But right now, he's going to get in trouble. That sounds like we just had a monkey ultimate, bringing Daimyo down to half HP.
Look at how slow he is in comparison.
Oh, there's the ult from Apollo. Stuck in the middle lane. Daimyo, turn around. Can't do it. Mr. Turtle puts Daimyo in the ground. And why, Ryan?
Because he didn't have boots. Because the Hun Batz was faster than him. He couldn't get away. It's tough situation. Now he can buy his full boots, but probably should have done that earlier.
Yeah, if he has the boots, not only does he move faster in addition to the scent of death, but he also is going to be able to deal a little bit more damage. More damage means you're healing more off of that Death Scythe turnaround. Very rough stuff coming out from the Thanatos. He's going to be our first blood because of it. Not knocking him out, though, just yet, as we'll have a brief pause. 5:42 on the clock. CAZ Esports up about 1,000 pure gold thanks to a nice opportunity brought to them. Started by the monkey and then ended in the middle lane.
And Atonement started that ult really, really early. I mean, that was very early on, before the Fear No Evil even came out, I believe. And he could have used it to go back to the right lane. He'd already bought the full Devourer's gauntlets, did go for those instead of the early boots.
Love it.
But instead decides he's just going to decide to help out that fight. Ends up costing him a little bit because he has to use a little bit more mana to go farther into the enemy jungle. And now he doesn't have that to rotate back to the duo lane, so he's losing out on some stacks. But he's there to help the squad. Maybe that kill onto the Thanatos doesn't happen without that, one tick of damage from across the sky, plus is so beautiful. It ends up giving No Compromise some free farm on that left-hand side, but working out for CAZ.
The assist gold winds up making it all even. In fact, 20 gold above. Not that we're actually going to talk about that. But the fact that he makes that rotation and is a part of that kill makes it so that even though he gave up some farm, he earns it during the fight. So a little bit, picked up, picked down situation for Mr. Apollo over there.
Does have that 9 stacks already, so gets 1 wave in that duo lane, and it's not going to take him long. I mean, Apollo, so efficient at stacking this Devoured Gauntlet up, not only because So Beautiful full clears the wave at this stage now, but it's also because he's got so much mobility, he can rotate to those back Harpies. I mean, he's no Jing Wei, no one is, but you get an opportunity to rotate to your back Harpies, rotate to your purple, Oracles, to the mid lane, whatever you need to do, because you always have that global ultimate ready in case you need to be at some fight where you currently aren't.
So we've been celebrating Devourer's Gauntlets a lot today with our Artemises and our Apollos, but when you look across the way and we see Chiron doesn't go Devourer's Gauntlets, this makes just as much sense as seeing it on the other characters.
Absolutely. Chiron a little bit more ability based than most other hunters, as Maloaise going to drop that ultimate right onto the Thanatos. Not enough movement speed even with the boots. Mr. Turtle going to find kill number 2.
Big change there. 7 seconds left on the bead, so it wasn't available. Couldn't get out of the Fear No Evil. YC uses his, turns around for the blast knowing he's going down. Elexum puts number 3 on the board for CAZ.
I really like Elexum's play there. Not only does he just trust that the ultimate's going to hit for Mr. Turtle, it does. The Purification Beads gets the Thoth out of the ult range. Who cares? At least that he's trusting, he's on point with the timing there of Searing Pain, but also knows that he's safe to chase in that scenario. Stays at a very far distance back and throws out a nice one to secure the kill. Good positioning and play there from Elexum.
The kill onto the Thanatos is not... It's not that big of a deal. Thanatos is still within 300 gold of the opposition, half a level down. This is when you talk about keeping the early game characters out of the game, you want to kill them over and over again, sure, but we're not there yet for the Thanatos.
I think we're one away though.
Yeah.
It's close. We are close, but I agree with you. We aren't there yet. Thanatos can still chunk down this Raw a ton with just one Death Scythe.
If that's the jump, and this could be the kill,
Shell.
but a nice shell. Gonna save the life of BaiN for the moment. If Thoth guy doesn't die there, I don't think that play is worth it. That's kind of where I was getting at. We're expending the fear no evil in that scenario. Very good job of CAZ, Elexum specifically, to make sure that the enemy mid laner dies as well in that exchange.
And Mr. Turtle, again, his transition from support now into solo. This Bellona that he's been piloting has just been phenomenal. 2-0-1 in this game. He was, what, 2-0 and a million in game number 1. He's looked really, really strong on this Bellona.
I started talking about it in one of the earlier games. I love watching players that have previously played support move over to other positions. I think that mentality, you can take the player of the dual lane, but you can't take the support out of the player, and that's so important.
I mean, just having that mentality of, I need to initiate here, or I need to peel here. It's a lot of instinctual team fighting. That being said, supports and solos do have very different jobs come late game team fights most of the time. So how well can Mr. Turtle hang in the late game team fight that's very between two teams that are very close? We'll wait and see.
We saw it. Right now, we're seeing something different. Fight over on the left-hand side. Atonement gonna take to the sky and chase one down. Player very low. And not gonna happen just yet. Everybody gets out of there.
Smart choice by Atonement to not land on the 1 HP Thanatos because Thanatos is worth a lot less than Atonement is. I mean, Atonement's got 1,000 gold over him in terms of net worth. That kill on the Thanatos, who really cares? A kill onto Atonement, that's a big deal. I think I would have rather seen Atonement go up into the sky as he did, force everyone back as he did, but have CAZ pull the Gold Fury because everyone from Null and Void went back to try and kill the Apollo.
Yeah, that's one of those half kills that it doesn't matter if Thanatos actually dies there or not, as the first portal demon of the game is taken less than 40 seconds after it spawned. Thanatos gets pushed out of lane. That removes him from the farm as BaiN gets removed from the lane. Thanatos trying to clean up some kills, 1v2. He hit his Death Scythe, but now he's in trouble.
Oh, that overhand smash just doing so much damage from Maloaise. My man's level 11 going up against level 9 Thanatos. Thanatos does not have a very large HP pool to speak about. You saw just how little he had there.
So at 2 deaths, we said he's not quite out of it. That half kill that I was just explaining, plus the third, Thanatos is going to have a hard time coming back into this one. 1,000 gold down to his direct opposition, plus 2.5, if not 3 full levels.
Bad looks so far for Daimyo, and this is where it kind of calls for a change of style, I would say, for Thanatos. You're obviously going to be leveling your Death Scythe first, but a lot of other Thanatos players will go for Scent of Death second, get that extra pen, but start leveling the ultimate now. Try and be useful just in terms of the execute.
Oh, there's the play out of the Gold Fury, and this one's going to get the kill onto Atonement. Wonderful shots coming out from No Compromise, forcing the Gold Fury to be leashed. There's one more time. Daimyo going way too deep. Elexum gets the kill, and Thanatos is definitely the one to hit that F6.
Oh, Elexum with the snipe as well. Thoth put down, and here comes the jungler, Maloaise. Fear no evil finds another. That's 3 quick deaths for Null and Void, and what almost looked like they could have been a 2 for 0 and a Gold Fury pool turns into 1 kill and a bunch of deaths.
The Thanatos just went way too hard there. Daimyo needs to understand when to let his foot off of the gas. Thanatos is an all-in character, but even the best have to fold at some point. And this one is looking like CAZ going to be able to pick up the Gold Fury. Nice zone. Atonement shows all of his cards. And Maloaise puts him in. Gets the kill. 4 for the monkey.
At least BaiN escapes. If you're rooting for Null and Void, that's your silver lining right there because you don't have a whole lot else going for you. Again, Daimyo looking for the kill onto Elexum, and again,
Walks into it. He walked into it.
I mean, you can't know where it is. You can't know where it's going. You just got to juke, and Elexum either missed by enough that he walked into it or predicted the juke perfectly.
5 kills in total for Batz. 3 assists. He's a part of 8 out of 10 kills here for CAZ Esports. So we see the Brawler's beat stick come out right away. Interesting choice here. Normally you see cooldown?
Yeah, Jotuns or hi-rez is usually what you go for in that second item slot. I think I would have preferred hi-rez in this scenario because you get that 10% CDR, you get a ton of extra damage, and you can basically two-shot people with if you roll well on the Batz passive with the extra damage from the hi-rez. But it could be just one of those scenarios where he wanted some early pen, he just had enough for the Brawlers. It's so cheap.
That Chiron really healing up.
I mean, Brawlers is just good. Anti-heal is a bonus
40-20
on Brawlers at all times. I would build Brawlers just about every game in the jungle, whether they have any healing or not. So it's going to be effective no matter what. Probably just a matter of he didn't have enough for Jotuns. That's what he was going to buy for. Knew a Gold Fury team fight was coming up. Time to get a big power spike. Make sure that we can get that Gold Fury, and then I'll use that extra gold later on.
Oh, nice plays. Gets the good roll. Taunts him while he goes down. Right there you saw the teleport to the monkey to confirm the secondary hit. The jump over the top to get the slow, and then whap with the crit. Good thing he had that healing reduction.
Hey man, Chiron couldn't heal with his abilities.
Jokes aside, you broke it down 100%. He wanted to get the power spike and just bought what he could. Sometimes we see players go cheaper options for that, simply because of the timing of the itemization. Timing of your items is just as important as the items themselves. Daimyo looks and finds death number 6.
Now Atonement just going to use that ultimate to rotate in and clean up this T1 tower in the mid. BaiN needs to be careful here because Mr. Turtle is level 15. Big stun there out of the Terra, but no follow-up. Elexum may have used that ultimate to finish off Daimyo in the mid lane, but look at this tower siege already. I mean, we're 15 minutes in, and this tier 2 tower is about to fall.
There's nothing that Null and Void can really do here. Their front line and BaiN did as much as possible, but he doesn't really have help. The Ganesha was stuck on the back line. The Thanatos, when you run a Thanatos and a non-engaged Guardian, a lot of the times what you want your Thanatos to do is wind up on the back line, assassinate somebody with an ultimate, or you want long-range poke and allow the Thanatos to go ahead and execute that player. Neither of those are an option when you're this far down. Level 10 in juxtaposition to level 15 on the monkey, level 13 on the lowest player on CAZ Esports' roster. It's a really rough game because Thanatos is such a part of your composition when you do select him that this is what winds up happening.
Fire Giant pull now for CAZ, and can't blame them. They're up over 10K already. Experience probably pretty similar. Go Fire Giant down to about half HP, but they're going to change their attention to Olliieee. He was the first one in, and he might be the first one out.
There's the ring coming down, but nobody seems to care. The silence is good, but not good enough. Elexum takes him out with the basic attacks out of the Raw Man. There's the Fear No Evil, and Atonement fears nothing. Down goes anybody in the way of those finger guns. Ryan, what do they sound like?
Pew, 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 pew.
1113 for the Apollo.
And look at the goal difference just between the junglers. Maloaise is up over 3K on Daimyo. If this were a 3K team lead at 16 minutes, we'd say, well, CAZ Esports, they've got a 3K lead. That's pretty good for this point. That's one person who's got the 3K lead. Everyone else is up at least 1,000 over their opposition, most over 2,000. Look at the net worth. I mean, Elexum's at the lowest, and he's still over 1,000 more than the highest on Null and Void.
It's out of control here. Null and Void are basically Null and Void at 17 minutes. 14-1, CAZ Esports. I mean, they're not just driving the truck, they own the whole damn lot. And right now, Null and Void, we can play the what-if game. Mr. Turtle going to engage one versus the world.
And force an ultimate. Because, honestly, he needed to. Now he comes back down. Mr. Turtle does take a big chunk of HP, but, again, still going aggressive, trying to set up for Atonement.
Oh, Atonement. 2 shots will land, but he can't find them. Nice knock. And the hide, the hide, the hide, the hide! I love that play coming out from Daimyo Herp. Hid behind the pillar to make sure he couldn't get hit by the basic attack. That was a fantastic play. 0-6-1 for the Thanatos.
But
as
he did
gets
it.
the assist credit.
But he got the assist credit. That's right. Smart plays, no doubt about it, to use that pillar. It has a body. You can't
That
shoot
was
your
sick.
autos through it. In reality, Atonement missed about 4 pew-pews before that, so he probably should have died before he got to the pillar, but
he got there.
he got
and he
there,
did it.
and he did the thing.
He did.
He did the hiding.
He got it to work. Sometimes you build something and you just want it to work. At this point, I think Null and Void kind of understand where they lie. You got to play it out. You know, don't just fold, but he got it to work, and that's cool.
Your day of judgment is at hand.
It seems to be for Null and Void, Thoth. It seems to be. What can they do to get back into this one, right, guy?
That's about what I got for you. I don't know, man. I don't think it's possible. I really don't. I mean, we're talking...
Well, look, the gold difference is 12,000. Theoretically,
Sure.
that's 4 gold furies, right? So what you're looking for out of Null and Void here is you want to go ahead and pick up a gold fury when the other team doesn't know where it is. Perhaps bait them to the right side of the map and you take a gold fury. Now, you've cut the 12,000 gold lead into about a 9,000 gold lead. From there, you want to go and find a win of some sort of team fight. Whether or not you lose 3 members into a 5, that's all well and good. Maybe you do that by way of long-range shots from No Compromise NYC. Then you get the ultimate out of Daimyo Herp to get a kill, enabling you to get a secondary gold fury. Now you've cut the 9,000 gold lead into 6,000. If you're able to pick up a tower or 2, now the 6,000 gold lead's down to about 4,000 because of the 1,500 plus 500 you get for both towers. Now all of a sudden you've got a game.
And then you drop your controller and a golden egg pops out and you realize you're rich. You've done it. That's about as likely in my mind. I mean, you're right. Eventually, let's say CAZ just decides that they want to play with their food here, and YCTO gets Rod of Tahuti and that Obsidian Shard done, and then one-shots Atonement of Maloaise and Elexum
Now you're
with
thinking.
one shot. That's how you win the game.
All right, now CAZ looking to do the same thing. Down comes the Fear No Evil, and Ollie is stuck. Ollie is stuck. He can't Ollie over that one, but YC off the mark with the ultimate. As BaiN stuck on the back end, finding multiple knockups, but the Firebird goes down.
Left side Phoenix already gone. Maloaise jumping into the enemy Titan room, but still not punished. Dharmic Pillar is out, but not quite enough damage.
See, this is the type of play that can get punished. I mean, we were
Yeah.
kind of joking before, but here, CAZ Esports, if they're going to repeatedly jump in to the throne room when they're at 10% HP, this is the type of stuff that Null and Void can absolutely take advantage of. Thanatos is 0-6-1. He still has 2 or 3 ranks into that ultimate. He's going to be able to execute players that don't get healed up by the raw heal. CAZ Esports, yes, they're up by literally 1,500 or 15,000 gold, but they still have to make sure not to. I always say this, man. You got to play your lead, be aggressive, but don't let your lead play you. And that's kind of what we're seeing CAZ fall into.
For the moment, yes, but as soon as Maloaise jumps in, the rest of the team doesn't follow him. That's number one. Smart plays to not follow in. And then they just back up and go for their own objectives. I think they realized that was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Fire Giant was about to wear off.
Too
now
fast.
it's due to spawn in 35 seconds or so. Back, buy. You've got 1 million gold. You've got 1 million items. It's time to just get this Fire Giant and close out the game.
And that's exactly what we'll see. The Deathbringer coming out from the monkey. One of my favorite item god pairings. How do you want to say that?
Item God pairings, I think, was the best one.
Yeah, I like that one. All of a sudden, you get hit by an ability, you get hit by the overhand smash and a basic, and you're dead. You just sit there like, what?
What do you do?
What?
Ah. Well, Atonement, he doesn't have Deathbringer yet, but he's still got plenty of crit. And look at where Maloaise is. Atonement, he's the cavalry. He's coming for the backup, but Maloaise didn't even need it.
Not even going for the Fire Giant. Ollie half HP. The Titan could be next year, folks, as a slide forward. Not going to find it, but as everybody looks towards the right-hand Phoenix, this one's in trouble.
Right side Phoenix certainly in trouble because Atonement is level 18. Not a lot of pen there, especially because he doesn't have a Titan's Bane to knock down those structures, but Mr. Turtle's taking care of YCTO. Right side Phoenix gets taken care of by the rest of CAZ, and now they might decide to go for the Fire Giant.
Surrender vote has started. I wouldn't be surprised if this one actually went through. As I said, the lead for CAZ is almost 20,000. Turtle, as he takes down the Ollie. And he is not oxen free. Mid-tower, Phoenix, the bird, the thing, goes down.
Everyone's still fairly healthy. I mean, sure, Mr. Turtle down below half HP, but He's got some healing waiting for him from Elexum and Switch on that Terra. Plenty of sustain between the two of them, and also could just back and use that Swift Wing and probably get to the enemy throne room right as soon as CAZ is ready to push.
Fire Giant here. Chaos Brute takes out Daimyo. Herp.
No. I agree, cameraman. Bad.
Chaos Brute.
Bad.
Chaos Brute is the large minion in a minion wave, correct?
Yes.
So Daimyo died to Atonement, literally laughing to the bank. Daimyo died to a fire wave.
They hurt, man. And my man's like level 12. That really hurts.
YCTO gonna feel the hurt here as Malo puts down the hurt. And the Titan is going to fall. Null and Void with 2 losses as CAZ Esports finds their second.
A little bit of a fight back here, but probably still not going to be enough. They only found 1. It looks like they could have found more. Switch knocks down Daimyo. At least it's not a minion this time. Titan likely to fall here. CAZ Esports going back to the Smite Console League. Elexum missed out last time around, but now paired up with Atonement, he's going to try and make his return to the SCL a fruitful one. It's going to be CAZ and Era Eternity, your Smite Console League representatives coming out of Relegations.
I like the way that these guys played CAZ, meaning Elexum kind of finally earned his spot. I think that this is, and
well.
you know, objectively, this is the best that we've seen Elexum play in a long time, and I think this is going to be kind of nice going into the SCL.
Sometimes that's what you need. I mean, if you got a guy who's been there for so long, he's done it over and over again, and you kind of fall off a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
you get comfortable. You're like, yeah, I'll just be here and do whatever. Maybe that split off for Elexum, not making the SCL, is what he needed to kind of re-energize, refocus. And you're right, today he looked very, very strong.
Yeah, especially next to, I mean, you mentioned Atonement, certainly a big part of it, but everybody on CAZ kind of came through and really did their work. Pick a player out.
On CAZ, let's go Maloaise.
Maloaise?
Yeah, I think he was pretty good.
Yeah, big damage coming out from the Monkey, big control with the Fear No Evil and everything else as that's concerned. So we do have our 2 teams that find their way into the Pro League. It's going to be CAZ and Era Eternity representing Europe in our Smite Console League.
And I believe they're going to be playing up against each other next so that they can determine the seeding coming out of Relegations between those 2 squads. And that's always important. I mean, you want to make sure, you want to get that measuring stick. You know what I mean? We know that we're the 2 best teams coming out of Relegations, but what's the fun in 2 best teams? I want 1 best team.
That's exactly what we're going to find out in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for the conclusion of the SCL Relegations.